before to start, just quickly, a short introduction about us. Lorenzo from Italy, REPLUG. We are an app marketing agency.
And I am Ekin from Turkey, and I work as a mobile marketing manager at REPLUG.
What is REPLUG? It's we're an agency. We do app marketing activities. We support mobile companies in their paid user acquisition, organic acquisition, also with CRM and growth consulting in general. We also have a nice graphic department that supports our clients with design and performance marketing creatives. We are pretty young, 3 years around. We have been awarded with some nice prizes, and we have been working with some nice clients so far. But I think today it's not about us. It's about paid UA, right?
Yes.
So we are here because we have seen, I think, during the morning, that paid UA is a mess. Like many things happened in the past few years, and we are now in a situation that we can see difficult for all of us that want to run paid marketing, that want to run user acquisition. We know, we have been talking about it all the morning. We know that we have iOS 14 limitation with the tracking. It's difficult to measure the success of our campaigns. It's true that there is an increase in competition because with the pandemic, especially, we were seeing the numbers before in 2021, like everyone was spending online because all the businesses moved online. And basically, the result of this is that the spending is very inefficient, right? It's not as it used to be. Back in the days, 2019, you had a big budget, you went to Facebook and Google, you spend a budget, you get the results, yeah, success. Now it's not like this. Now probably many of us ask ourselves, is it the end of paid UA? Paid UA, it's dead? I don't know. What do you think? I think if you behave like this dog, that you say that everything is fine, yeah, probably paid UA probably is dead. If you do like this, if you don't realize that something is changed around, that we have new things to take in consideration, probably paid UA it's really dead, and it's the end for all of us. I don't want to be dramatic, but that's how it is. If we think that we can do the same things as before, we cannot scale, we cannot have success. So what should we do then? Like, why? Like today, in this workshop for the next 40 minutes, maybe 45, bear with us, we are going to talk about some, not new way, some different way of conducting paid user acquisition, which is more holistic, a way that takes into account all the different areas of app marketing. And also it's a systematic way that follows a process, right? So at REPLUG, we started working using processes for everything, for ISO, for mobile CRM, and also for paid user acquisition. Basically, most of our processes are like this, kind of a framework, 5 steps, where we have the audit at the beginning, the strategy, the implementation, the analysis phase, and the optimization at the end. The last 3 are recurring. And for all of these stages, we ask ourselves some questions, right? For example, in the audit phase, we ask ourselves what are the past activities that the client or that the app has done, and if the tracking is ready. This is very important. We will see it. We take in phase by phase what are the other things that we do. Sorry. In the second part, in the strategy, instead we ask ourselves what are the best channels, what is the best strategy to achieve our goals in terms of target audience, in terms of creative as well. And then in the third phase, we implement our strategy. And the question is here, what is the best campaign structure? How do we get all the creatives that we need? And here the process like the optimization loop starts, because we analyze and we ask ourselves what are the results and what are the drivers for this result. And eventually, based on this result, we go to the last phase where we optimize. We ask ourselves, the question here is, how can we get better, right? For each of these phases, we have a lot of sub-activities. I see, guys, you're taking photos. No worries. You will see at the end, there will be a QR code. You can download this part. it looks extremely complicated. It's not. I mean, you will see now phase by phase that we have the activities separated by areas, and you will see also some examples. But now Ekin will guide you through phase number 1.
Phase number 1 is audit and setup. So before to start with our strategy and implementation, we check the past activities of our clients, what they have really been doing. If the tracking was correct, if they were tracking all the events, and if the MMP is correctly set up, the channel integration, and many tech stuff we check. And then we have the campaigns health check. We are looking at what they have been doing, who they were really targeting, what kind of optimizations they were using. And then we have the creative health check, which is very important. In the creative part, we check how they were communicating their USPs and how they were actually communicating these messages to the users. And we, of course, check if they have been missing some opportunities with the creative part. And then, after we communicate these possible fixes to our clients, then we have the strategy. So we actually communicate our own strategy to the client, and it consists of 2 phases here. The campaign strategy, where we determine which channels we are going to be using, what kind of targeting we are going to use in our campaigns. The budget allocation is very important, of course, whether if we are going to use retargeting activities in the beginning or not, and then the creative strategy. That because we have checked in the audit what they have been doing, and now we have new strategies, or we iterate what has been working for them. And we structure our testing, like if we are going to use static videos or UGC, and how many creatives we actually are going to need in the beginning. And then after we communicate this strategy for approval, of course the client needs to approve our strategy. And when they are approved, we go into the implementation, which again consists of 2 phases. And here we start the construction actually. So we build the campaigns on Facebook, Google, whatever channel we are going to use. And we prepare our testing. And very importantly, how we are going to be reporting those results to clients. So we actually structurize our reporting. And then the creative production. We brief our design team. So we tell them that we want to use this thing. So they start the production of the assets that we are going to use in our campaigns. And if we are going to use content creators on TikTok, for instance, then we do this research and we brief the content creators as well. And then after we've been running our campaigns for a while, so when it comes to analyzing, that's the really fun part, because we are bombarded by a lot of data. So this part again consists of 2 phases where we check seriously all the possible data that is possible to analyze. We check them. So in the campaigns analysis, we of course report the main KPIs, and then we check cohort, organic uplift, whatever that can be analyzed, we analyze in that part. And of course the creative analysis is also important. We check again every possible data that we can analyze. So because of all this comprehensive data that we have done in the 4th phase, then it comes to optimization and iterating actually what has been working. And this part, as you know, is an ongoing process, so we never stop because we learn new things on the way. And this part we check campaigns optimization, what has been working, what has not been working, then we iterate on this. And then the creative optimization, that if we are going to use new messages, new creative formats, or whatever. And of course the cross area optimization, because paid UA is connected to many things with the ASO, CRM, and doing with clients. That's also a very important part, I assume.
we often do. So As we mentioned before, this is the start of our optimization loop, right? So we have those three phases that are going around and around, not forever, but until you don't get fantastic results. We always say that there is always something to improve and something to test. So this is what we call the optimization loop. And what I can just introduced here is the cross-area optimization. It's a concept that you will see now more and more in the example, because it's something that we really believe and we really see that it's working and being important with our clients, taking care of all the additional parts, not only paid UA, but ASO, CRM, and also product. So we want to show you now some example of how does it work, this process, this framework. And to do so, we have prepared some case studies. You will see a main case study, which is ODX Club. We chose this one for a few reasons. First, because it's a dating app, so it's a bit spicy, it's nice, you see some nice example. And also because we have been nominated to the awards for the paid UA campaign with this campaign, so we thought that it would be nice to show you. But for each process, you will see also some other clients' example, because they will help you understand how to implement all the nice things that we have seen in the previous slides. ODX Club, the challenge that they had, basically they approached us, they launched in early 2022 with this new dating app that had the objective of addressing women and letting them be free in their dating experience. It's, another dating app, I know, but like they had this nice concept. And they had this challenge, they wanted us to create and execute a strategy to acquire more women in Berlin, only active in Berlin they are at the moment. And they also provided us with a monthly six-figure budget that is kind of interesting to spend for an agency or in general for a marketer, like everyone would like to have this kind of budget. Basically, our three main challenges were these, right? Increase the registrations and increase the female share and also decrease the CPA. Kind of like mission impossible, you would say. So if you think about the six-figure budget, like, we could have done this, right? Go after the budget, not to care about the results, and say, yeah, let's do it. However, we like to do things the right way, so we decided to go with our process, and we started with the first phase, with the audit. What did we do in the audit?
Well, in the audit, we asked our questions, what they have been doing in the past in terms of campaigns, in terms of tech infrastructure, and what we actually found out with this case that, we found many things that were not right in the beginning, but the most important thing was that their tracking was not set up correctly. Most importantly, SKAT network, we were blind, they were blind, actually, to iOS 14 plus people. And also, they were not tracking very crucial events that they needed to be tracked. For instance, how many times people are matching with each other, and etc., etc. Many important events that were missed.
Too many details.
Okay. And in the campaigns health check, we realized that they only implemented a basic strategy where they've been using only few channels and missing opportunity, for example, on TikTok, which then resulted as a big channel for us. And then the creative health check remembered that they wanted to maintain the female share. But in their creatives, they were communicating to them in the unisex approach. So it's just an app, and there is no, communication of USPs and how this empowers women and etc. These things were missing. And then we communicated these things to the clients, and
yeah, we did also, with them, we also did a cross-activity check at the beginning. So as we saw before in the framework, we started with this check already in the audit because we noticed that there was something that could have been improved, first of all, in the App Store optimization part, but also in the registration process. And if you, as a marketer, has the objective to increase registration, you should definitely check the registration page, right? Because you want the users to register as easy as possible. So that's what we found out in the phase of the audit. Now, it's difficult to make example of an audit, right? So we prepare some of the tools that we use, not only in the case of your ODX Club, but usually, for example, when we go through a tech audit, we do this kind of thing. This is something that you can apply to everything, right? You just need to map your funnel acquisition. You see, you have the channels, you have all the touch points before the install and after the install, and then you can realize if you're tracking everything that you need. You can realize if you're tracking the install should be tracked if the SKD network is implemented. But you can see, for example, in this case, if the user was inserting their photos, if they were accepting some permissions. So at the end of this analysis, you have a clear idea of what you need to implement in terms of tracking. Another example of the work that we do in terms of audit, in the phase of the audit, is this one. This is a classic funnel analysis, very easy, you might say, but it's crucial because you can see all the steps that the user is doing from the install to the conversion event. In this case, it's very simplified. You see that the last part is profile completed, which was in our case the main event. And here, when you have all the numbers, now of course, like you don't have numbers, but you can see the drop rates, you can see everything. And if your goal is profile completed, that out of 100 installs, you have one registration, there is something already that doesn't work with the registration, right? So this is what we do. We do a status quo, we propose next step, and usually that's very helpful in terms of understanding where the users are dropping and if there is also some problem with the product. Still in the audit phase, sorry for the main animation, our designer went crazy, like I told you should be. This is a creative analysis, not for Audix Club. It's not a client. Basically what we do, we check the ads, right? So what did you guys do? Like, was it okay in terms of text, in terms of image, in terms of call to action? Did you have a very clear what's in it for me, which we believe is very important for all the type of marketing activities? So in this phase, basically, we understand if we can already start campaigns with the materials that they have or if we need to produce something new. Me, personally, I don't know you, but I wouldn't start the campaign with this kind of ad because it's too much confusion and probably the install rate and the CPI would be very high. So at the end of the audit, usually what we do, it's like, okay, calm down, like before to spend money, before to start and burning the budget on different channels. Let's fix the things, okay? Let's work together. Let's be ready to start paid UA and to go to phase number 2 and 3, actually.
Yes, phase number 2 and 3, strategy and implementation, of course, they go together, but this is the phase after the audit when we communicated what was wrong with their tracking and past campaigns and creatives. So these things have been fixed, and now we can actually start our strategy. We can propose our strategy to our client in terms of Audix Club, that of course the aim was to maintain the female share, right? So we have decided to allocate 80% of budget to females and 20% to males. And then we decided that we should really be doing gender-specific targeting and communicate these two genders differently because, you know, females and males are sometimes very different and they needed a different communication. And we decided to test out detailed targeting, interest-based, broad, and lookalikes, and all the things that were possible. And then after the strategy was approved, then we have also proposed the creative strategy because in the beginning, we have actually sat down with the clients, the copywriter, with the management team, and all the relevant stakeholders, and we decided that actually we needed to use 7 key messages to communicate to the users, and of course the focus on women empowerment, and this app is from Berlin. So we wanted to give the users the feeling that this app is only for Berliners, and then of course, we have used many other concepts, but these two were the main focus of us, women empowerment and dating from Berlin. And yeah, we can, yeah.
And then we also proceeded with the optimization, with the suggestion for the strategy for ASO and for the registration page as well, because we believe that could have been optimized. They were not, of course, ugly. We will see the examples, but we we thought that it could have been beneficial to propose also this kind of things. Again, here, a lot of text, a lot of content. Let's see some example of how we actually strategize the paid UA activities and how we execute it. Simple tool. It's an Excel file. It's for budgeting. Like, probably you hate Excel. I used to. He hated it. So it's simple. You know your budget. You know your time frame. This is an example, not the real budget. Or yes, I don't know. You decide where to spend the budget in terms of channels, in terms of, here you see gender, but could have been cities, could have been countries or different variables. You input your things, you get your budget, you cannot be wrong. You can set up the budget and go drinking with your clients. Naming structure, very important. Ekin was mentioning in the, this is important in the setup phase. It's not just about deciding how to spend the budget, which channels or which audiences. We really need, it's very important to create a specific naming structure that then will help us in terms of analysis, because this is something that the BI team loves, because they can really pull the data from AppsFlyer, from Just and the platforms. They have their breakdown with the symbols that they want, and they can analyze. So before to start, think about the name of your campaigns, because then you cannot change them, right? Because otherwise...
If you change, then the MMPs will go crazy, I guess. Yeah.
No, this is very important. Phase of strategy, decide this. Some example for ODX Club in terms of creatives. Here you see what Ekin was suggesting, dating from Berlin, for Berlin, so very focused on Berlin. And what we also did was trying some... I don't want to say real-time marketing, but it was the pandemic time, so all the clubs were closed, and we were playing, not us, our copywriter. Well, they were playing with all clubs are closed, we are open. It worked apparently. What stands out is their brand identity. So these colors always. Constant across different concepts. You see also here, this is a carousel in German. Here we were using 4 of the 7 taglines or concepts that the brainstorming produced. And we were always communicating with this kind of same branding, same way to address women. As we were mentioning, ASO, this was the starting point. Not bad. But what we went for eventually was this one, because it was more following the brand identity and was more conversion driven. A registration page, something that we believed, we saw the results and they were like actually very good. This was the starting point, nothing bad, like the user could have registered, like it's not that was broken or something. This one is a bit more conversion driven. And you see there is a clear value proposition, there is a reason to register, and also there are multiple registration methods that can help like the user to proceed. So this is something, of course, that it's not only for ODX Club. We did it with other clients that we were doing paid UA. Stapler again, you see there is a clear reason to register. This is what we proposed. Then maybe they opted it for something different, right? But this is something that we propose in the phase of strategy. We always say, put a clear reason, that what's needed for me, make it easy for the user to register with different methods, but also let them skip if they just want to have a sneak peek. Those are all examples, small examples of activities that we do in the phase of strategy and implementation. And of course, this is a recap of what we did in the specific for ODX Club. And that's actually the moment where we say, okay, all set, let's start, let's go, let's start to analyze, and we can go to phase 4 and 5.
Phase 4 and 5, they also come together because in the phase 4 we analyze our efforts, and then in the optimization we implement our learnings. So we optimize the campaigns, the creatives, or cross-area activities. And then in specific the ODX Club, this is where things get really fun, and at the same time almost...
It looks like when it's getting the data.
Yeah, seriously, the data is... I love data, so And you can be imagining how angry I was when Apple announced ATT. So
that's a topic for another time.
Yeah. And in terms of, ODX Club, we analyzed again all the possible data that was available: channels, targeting, conversion rates, cohort, user quality, organic uplift, SKAT versus ATT opted-in people, and we found many things. But the most important finding for us was that TikTok actually had the best KPI and user quality balance. It wasn't the cheapest channel, but it was the best channel in terms of user quality and the KPIs. So, and then in the creative part, we analyzed again all the things, and then for ODX Club, what we found that, you remember that TikTok had a big potential, but we realized that on TikTok, our usual Berlin concept, women empowerment concept actually didn't work very well on TikTok. So then we decided to continue with UGC content. Remember that we really tested out more than 100 concepts.
Over 6 months, like we really iterated the best concept. You will see some example. Of course, like also in the cross-activity part, we had fun a lot because we were playing around with ASO, CPP, with CRM, and other cross-activity things that we like to do, and we know that they can bring good results for the paid UA campaigns. Now, again, we want to give you some example, not only concepts, some analysis.
Yes, this is just an example of how we report our activities to clients. It is important for us because we base our decisions by looking at these tables where we analyze everything, and it's also easy for the client because I don't know how your experience is, but some clients really struggle to read the data on MMPs. So we give them a simplified versions of the data, and they are usually very happy with that. And this is my quote: in marketing, as in life, there is never enough data. I really love data. And I am angry with Apple. Sorry.
So, some example of the things that we have been doing. So, you don't have the volume, it's in German as well. But basically what we did with UGC, instead of focusing on simple and classic creatives, we contacted some influencers, some creators, and we requested them to do specific ads that were still following the concepts, right? The idea of women empowerment and Berlin dating, these kind of things. But it was TikTok, right? So these things started working amazingly. At the same time, we didn't stop doing the normal creative, so to say. We iterated the best performing ones, so we didn't reinvent things. We saw that the dating from Berlin for Berlin was working, so we did another iteration of the GIF, and we created some new things, but still following their brand identity and adopting this systematic approach to creative testing. An example, this is something that we created. It's again, no-brainer. It's a matrix where you have several variables. In this case, you have 2 variables. You will see that you have always the same background, the same call to action, the same buttons in the store. What's changing is the main element of the banner, the variable on top, and also the text on the banner, the other variable on the side. This way you have 9 banners that you can test against each other and find at the end of the day the concept that is working best for your app. This is important also to decide what to communicate in other platforms, because you know if, for example, here free invoicing app was working better than invoice on the go, you can really understand, and you tell me, yeah, I have limitation with iOS, that's a topic for another time, but we can really get a lot of data with a good BI team. And eventually we stopped and say, wait a second, we realized, I mean, you should have realized by now, but if you didn't, like, we will tell you that the optimization loop started. Because you saw that we did the strategy, we implemented the campaigns, and we got some data, and we started optimizing and optimizing. And this is something that was going and going on. And yeah, that's the fun part, as Akin was mentioning. This is what we like to do because it's the time to test new things every day, every week, and get the results. For example, ASO, we started from here. Remember, we did the first iteration, what we suggested, this one. And then again, this was I think the latest release was, again, it's following the brand identity. It's more and more conversion driven. Of course, there were tests that proven this to be the best concept. But what we did also, we started playing with the CPP, right?
Yes, CPP. So as you know, that CPP landing page is available on Facebook targeting for iOS campaigns. I hope TikTok makes it available soon too.
They are there. You can ask them.
Really?
No.
So what we did on Facebook, remember that we were separating our targeting males and females. So we developed actually a simple strategy. If we send males to a landing page where they see hot girls, the conversion rate will increase. I mean, no-brainer, right? And it's one of the examples, and actually it did increase. So we have seen a lift of 56.2% increase on the conversion rate. So our testing has worked. We can conclude that males really like to see hot girls. So
that's what we learned in our months of work. This is another example of CPP plus Facebook, and this is interesting. It's the same as Forodix Club, but it's for Invoices App, the previous client. Why it's here? Because we just wanted to show you how everything is connected. Before you saw the matrix for the creatives, and together with the matrix, together with those 9 concepts, we were also testing CPPs to see how the conversion rate was improving, and the results were very much similar to the ones we saw for Forodix Club. Also for this app, we tried to see if men like women, even for an invoicing app, and it does, it works. Back to Forodix Club, other things that we did together with them during our collaboration with Paid UA, we did the specific in-app events that Apple launched. You say, how much traffic did they bring? If I have to be honest, they didn't bring hundreds of thousands of organic downloads, but it was something nice to give continuity. Of course, it's more ranking, more visibility, so we got a bunch of users. Last but not least, another thing that we love to do, and we really love, is to check the product, the onboarding part. This is not Forodix Club. This is another example of another app that we are helping growing from the US. It's called Mist. And this was their onboarding. So all those steps, and then other 10, but it was not big enough to start the trial. And we say, maybe we should try to make it easier for the user to download the app, register, and start trial. That's what we propose, something cleaner, something more user-friendly, something that would help the user register and start the trial. And this is really, really good because the improvement that we had in the start trial rate was amazing. And of course, at the end of the day, the CPA is getting better. So it's not just about the conversion rate, it's about the CPA of your paid user acquisition activity. So everything is connected and everything can help. But, are we getting some results or just...
Yes,
blah, blah?
so let's talk about the results actually.
Okay.
That all these efforts have led to a 62% decrease in the paid CPA. Remember that we have, and everybody has some problems of getting the real CPA on SKAT network with the privacy thresholds and etc. But still, we were able to decrease the CPA by 62%. And then in terms of TikTok, and after using the UGC content, we have seen that the CPA improved by 49%. So it was an amazing result. And overall, we actually have kept 35% female share in the app. I know it's not 50-50, but seriously, if you are working for a dating app, you're going to realize that it's impossible, almost impossible to keep this female share. So 35% is a very good number.
Good job.
Yeah. And the registration rate has increased by 213%. it's a great achievement as well. So we were really happy with these results.
And again, not to be repetitive, but this is the result of all the activities together. So it was not one banner, it was not the App Store optimization, it was not a specific campaign, it's a process. We started 6 months optimizing, and overall we achieved these results. We forgot to mention that we also get together with clients, and we have beer, and we have fun, which we believe is very important, because we like, oh, Manu, that should be you last year. No, not this year. It's almost lunchtime. We have 5 minutes left, and we are going to show you some takeaways, because we like to give you some takeaways. It was a lot of talking. Again, please.
Yes. Well, we have some do's and don'ts. I mean, we have many, but these 4 things are really important. That before to start the activities, make really sure that the tracking works. So without tracking works completely and correctly, then it doesn't make sense to really start. And think holistic. Do not think only about paid UA, because as Lorenzo was showing you many examples, all these things that ASO user experience is all connected with paid UA, and then improve the onboarding, because okay, people install the app, but they should have an easy way of registering or whatever the goal is, and then eat, sleep, test, and then repeat.
Sometimes we don't even sleep.
And don'ts. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Means that do not rely on only one channel. Do not rely on only one creative. Keep testing, keep testing. And then sometimes when things go a little bit bad, like you don't have the results that you desire, but you're going to be testing, and then you're going to find the light in the end of the tunnel. So do not really feel discouraged by the bad results. And very importantly, do not stop refreshing your knowledge. Keep on learning, because things are really changing in this industry. Tracking, SKET network, now we have SKET network 4.0, and many new things are going to come, and never stop learning. And don't be scared to try. Yes, it looks complicated, but it's just about the process.
And that was it. And you can download if you want. Thank you very much.